Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Ahead of his apostolic visits to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and South Sudan, Pope Francis offered a heartfelt greeting to the people who were awaiting him in the two African nations. During his customary Sunday Angelus, he offered gratitude to the people, civil authorities and prelates of the countries. The pontiff also made a note of the armed clashes in the east of the DRC and the devastation caused by long years of war in South Sudan. In his message, the Pope also noted that he would arrive in South Sudan along with the Anglican Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, and the moderator of the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland, Ian Greenshields, on an ecumenical pilgrimage. He concluded by appealing to believers to keep his journey in their prayers. Shalom World brings you live coverage of the Apostolic Visit of the Holy Father from the 31st of January to February the 5th. This year's International Religious Freedom Summit will be held in Washington, D.C. from January the 31st to February the 1st. It will be attended by 106 plenary speakers from 26 countries representing major religions and 40 unique traditions. The event is aimed at creating a powerful coalition of organisations that work together for the cause of religious freedom around the world. It also looks at increasing public awareness and political strength for the global religious freedom movement. It wants every government, religious community and political and civil society organisation in the world to strive toward the goal of achieving freedom of religion and conscience for everyone, everywhere, protected in law and valued by culture. Several organisations are joining hands to support this event, and they include Global Christian Relief, the Philos Project, Samaritan's Purse, the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, the Orthodox Union, and Churches for Middle East Peace, to name a few. Pope Francis has stressed the sanctity of marriage by saying that there is a strong need in the world and the Church to rediscover the meaning of the conjugal union. He said there is a need to rediscover the meaning and value of the union between a man and a woman on which the family is founded. He made this address on Friday while speaking to auditors of the Roman Rota at the beginning of the judicial year. He explained that as per Christian revelation, marriage is more than a ceremony or social event. The pontiff reiterated that marriage takes place between real men and women in spite of all limitations and failings. He added that all true marriages, both sacramental and non-sacramental, are a gift from God to the couples. Bishop Michael Burbidge of Arlington, who is the chairman of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops' Committee on Pro-Life Activities, has sent a letter to House and Senate sponsors of the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion and Abortion Insurance Full Disclosure Act. In the letter, the bishop expressed support for the legislation. He said that protecting taxpayers from being forced to pay for abortion in violation of their conscience is a principle that has enjoyed historically broad support among Americans. He said it has also been life-saving. Rather than funding abortion, he said that Congress can better serve the common good by prioritising policies that comprehensively assist women, children and families in need in ways that will not only encourage childbirth, but make it easier to welcome and raise a new child. The No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion Act would make long-standing prohibitions on federal funding of elective abortion permanent and government-wide. In Nicaragua, a court has found associates of detained Bishop Rolando Alvarez of Matagalpa guilty of conspiracy to undermine national integrity and spreading fake news to tarnish the nation. The three priests, one deacon and two seminarians, were found guilty on Thursday, January the 26th, in a trial that was labelled as a charade by rights outfits. At the end of 4 days of trial, the prosecutor's office recommended 10 years imprisonment to the collaborators of the detained prelate. The oppressive Daniel Ortega regime is intensifying its persecution of the Catholic Church because of its vocal criticism of rights abuses by the Sandinista government. Paying tribute to the Spanish sacristan Diego Valencia, who was killed in a machete attack by a Moroccan last week, Bishop Rafael Sornosa of the Diocese of Cadiz and Ceuta said he died for his faith and confessing the faith. Hundreds packed the church of Our Lady of La Palma on the 27th of January to attend the funeral mass for Mr. Valencia. He was hacked to death by a 25-year-old illegal migrant in what police say was a terror attack. The Requiem Mass was attended by the President of the Junta de Andalucía, Juanma Moreno, and Mayor José Ignacio Landaluce, and a large number of believers and residents of the town. May he rest in peace. In the American state of Iowa, students of Catholic schools will now receive financial support of nearly $7,600 a year. This comes after Governor Kim Reynolds inked the Students First Act on the 24th of January. It allows parents to access state funds to meet the tuition fees of private schools. This move was hailed by Bishop R. Walker Nicholas of Sioux City, who said, "It is a great day for education in Iowa, both for public and private schools." The bishop said he was looking forward to serving more who wish to enroll their children in Catholic schools. He said the money will help parents keep their child in the Catholic school of their choice and help the diocese in enhancing quality education. The legislation, House File 68, passed largely along party lines in the Republican-controlled legislature. A shrine in Philadelphia has been accorded the rank of a minor basilica. The Miraculous Medal Shrine in the Germantown neighbourhood is now the city's second basilica. Built by the Vincentian Fathers in 1927, it soon became a famous shrine dedicated to Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal. This title is based on the vision of Our Lady to St. Catherine Labouré in France in 1830, and the subsequent mandate to strike medals with the description, "O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee." The rector of the shrine, Father Timothy Lyons, said that it was an esteemed honour for the shrine to be elevated as a minor basilica, calling it the next chapter of the shrine's history. With the rank of minor basilica, the shrine will now have the privilege of celebrating the Feast of the Chair of St. Peter, the solemnity of Holy Apostles Peter and Paul, and the anniversary of the Pope's election. In Nigeria, Catholic bishops of the Lagos Ecclesiastical Province have urged people to turn up in large numbers for the February the 25th general elections. They said that the poll is an opportunity for citizens to bring about change in the crisis-hit country. In a statement issued last week, the bishops said the poll is a chance to elect leaders who can put the socio-economic and political dynamics of the nation in order. The Catholic bishops of Lagos Archdiocese, the Abeokuta and the Ijebu-Ode Diocese said, "We call on all eligible voters to ensure that they obtain their permanent voter's card and come out en masse to cast their votes." The prelates said the elections are a unique opportunity for all eligible voters to exercise their civic responsibility by voting for credible leaders. In the last fortnight, the freezing winter in Afghanistan has claimed 150 lives. According to the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, large sections of the population are left without adequate means to buy heating systems to overcome the harsh winter. After the Taliban took power in 2021, women, children and the sick are in particular peril. Over the past 2 weeks, the temperature has dropped to as low as minus 34 degrees Celsius. Without adequate aid from outside, the healthcare system of the country faces collapse, and heavy flooding and drought are likely to trigger a food crisis. The power supply is erratic, and a stable banking system has ceased to exist, aggravating the crisis still further. The ruling Taliban has also dictated that non-governmental organisations will not be allowed to operate if they have women among their staff. The Holy Father has appointed a new Vicar Apostolic for the Apostolic Vicariate of Northern Arabia, which comprises Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Bahrain. Father Aldo Berardi will be the new Vicar Apostolic. He is currently serving as the Vicar General of the Order of the Most Holy Trinity for the redemption of captives. He will be succeeding Bishop Camilo Balin, who passed away in April in 2020. Father Berardi was born in France on the 30th of September in 1963. After a missionary experience in Madagascar, he joined the Trinitarian congregation and made his first profession in 1987. After studies in Canada's Montreal, he bagged a licentiate in moral theology from the Alfonsianum in Rome 3 years later. On December the 17th of the same year, he made his final profession. On the 20th of July in 1991, he was ordained a priest. He has served in Caritas, Catholic Action and the St. Paquita Centre for Sudanese Refugees in Cairo. The Bishop-designate is also a scholar in Arabic and Islamology. The Holy Father called for peace in the Holy Land during his Sunday Angelus. He was expressly referring to the 10 Palestinians, including a woman, who were killed on Thursday during an Israeli counter-terrorism operation, and the 7 Israeli Jews killed on Friday night by a Palestinian in a synagogue near Jerusalem. Meanwhile, on Thursday, Israeli settlers attacked an Armenian restaurant in the Christian quarter of Jerusalem. They threw chairs towards diners seated inside. Christian leaders in the Holy Land have condemned the violence and called for greater protection of minorities. Separately, on Saturday, Israeli police said 2 people were injured in a Palestinian shooting near the Old City. The gunman was neutralised before the injured were rushed to hospital. The skull of the Doctor of the Church, St. Thomas Aquinas, will be taken across France and abroad to commemorate the 700th anniversary of the canonisation of the saint. The skull of St. Thomas Aquinas was placed in a new reliquary at the Dominican convent of Toulouse in France. It was blessed during Holy Mass on the 27th of January. It was later moved to the Jacobin convent in the city for the Mass marking the 7th centenary of the theologian's canonisation. Afterwards, there was a procession with the saint's relic. The opening of the reliquary in the convent sacristy took place in the presence of Archbishop Jean-Louis Bruguet, who is the archivist and librarian emeritus of the Holy Roman Church, as well as the chancellor of the diocese and prior of the Toulouse Dominican convent. The relic will now be paraded across the country, and later it will be taken abroad. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And do remember, you can always visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.